Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Bang the ling chant down Babylon kingdom. Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom. Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Bang the ling chant down Babylon kingdom. Natty make we chant down Vatican now.
What up, y'all? Babylon 5 Podcast. It's your boy. It's Jermaine Event. How you guys doing? How are you guys doing? This is episode 193. Calling this bad boy Crackergate. Alright. We are calling this bad boy Crackergate because this podcast is clearly dictated by MMA Twitter. MMA Twitter was up in arms about Crackergate. I had to block some niggas because it was just real. It was a whole lot of ignorance. So we are definitely going to talk about Crackergate today, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about Bare Knuckle FC, Mike Perry versus Luke Rockhold. And we're going to talk about the scene thereafter. We're also going to talk about UFC Vegas 72, headlined by Yadong Vs Ricky Simon. And we're definitely going to talk about UFC 288, headlined by your boy, Aljamain Sterling, for all the Jermaines. For all the Jermaines. And if you guys would like to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. You guys can email this podcast for whatever reason at Babylon5Podcast@gmail.com. If you guys would like to hit that like button anywhere that you're listening to this podcast, I'd appreciate it so much. I'd appreciate it if you niggas would go hit up that YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Like, just blow that YouTube up. That should be where you guys... Let's just go to YouTube. Everybody get your content from YouTube. All right, and hit that like button. And share it to like-minded individuals, fans of combat sports, mixed martial arts in general, but combat sports nonetheless. If you guys are on Twitch, follow your boy at twitch.tv/Babylon5. I know I rarely stream shit, but I don't know. I don't know, nigga. I mainly play Civilization, and I don't know. I guess that's clearly interesting to some people. It's definitely interesting to me, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it would be that exciting to watch somebody else play Civilization and make decisions that I'd never make. You know what I'm saying? With their civilization, I don't think it would be that interesting. I wanted to stream, I don't know, I always want to stream shit like UFC, but then I just don't. Alright, then I just don't. But follow your boy on there nonetheless. If you guys would like to cop some merchandise, head on over to teespring.com/store/BOF-pod-shop. And lastly, everyone, don't just be my patrons or my Niji. Don't just be my Niji, be my patrons. Head on over to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod, and you can be my patron today. Ladies and gentlemen, you can be my patron today. And today we are talking about Crackergate. Israel Adesanya calls Dricus du Plessis a cracker, right? When I saw the video the first time, yeah, I heard him call du Plessis a cracker, alright? But it meant nothing. It didn't mean anything to me. You know what I'm saying? It was in one ear and out the other. And then I go to Twitter the next day, and all these people are calling Izzy a racist calling Izzy a racist for calling Duplessis a cracker. It's hilarious. Hilarious. I was just disgusted with some niggas. There are people on Twitter who were, man, like not even trolling, trying to claim that, trying to argue and putting out, they're posting shit on there to support their claims, but it's like, dude, are you even reading the shit that you're posting? Because they're saying, you know, cracker with that hard R is the same as the N-word. And my wife was like, it's interesting that they're writing the N-word and not the actual word, but they're writing cracker and saying that it's the same. It's clearly not the same. If one is so bad you feel uncomfortable typing that word out, you say the N-word because you know you'll get screenshotted and probably your account blocked, fucking deleted or whatever if for posting that word too much. So if they're the same, then why not say the C word? Why not feel so uncomfortable if it's so offensive? What's that fucking... I fucking love the Louis C.K. bit. I forgot I wanted to have that queued up and I didn't queue it up. But this is what I think about every time, like, this isn't the first time white niggas get upset about the word cracker. It's happened, but it always makes me think about this Louis C.K. Bit.
What can you really call a white man that really digs deep? Hey, cracker.
Oh, ruined my day. Boy, shouldn't have called me a cracker. Bringing me back to owning land and people. What a drag.
Bringing me back to owning land and people. Because the whole cracker, you know, if you guys are unfamiliar with the origin, it's like, apparently, like, it's just a term you call a white person because they cracked the whip while owning land and people. That's the joke there with Louis C.K., which is the whole point of the term cracker. So for everyone to be like, yo, this is racist, this is just the same as if Duplessis said the N-word to him, and everyone would be up in arms. And they're saying everybody should be up in arms because cracker is the same as the N-word. This is nuts. Alright. I hope, just as Izzy was saying in this video, you guys have heard me here complain. Like, long before Izzy and Kamaru spoke out, I was right here on this podcast was like, yo, I'm not feeling how them white niggas from South Africa is talking right now. They're saying weird shit about African fighters and how they're the real African fighters and not the other African fighters. Like, you know what I'm saying? They were and saying how the UFC shouldn't go to Nigeria or any of those other places in Africa, that it only makes sense to come to South Africa. They were saying it was like, why are you saying it this way, nigga? You could say, yo, UFC should come to my hometown. You can, like, ask for that without trying to shit on, like, this whole area and everybody from there. Trying to exclude them as if he's saying he's going to be the first true African champion. This white nigga over here, this cracker, as Izzy is saying, this cracker he was like, you have the nerve to question, like, how African I am. Like, this is nuts to me, okay? It is nuts. I had gone on about this in length, like, months ago. I went on, right before I went to Vegas to watch Duplessis fight fucking Brunson. I was saying how displeased I was with these white niggas. and the way they was talking, and just like that, Easy is just hoping this nigga beats Whitaker just so he can beat that nigga's ass for the same reasons that I found all this shit offensive. It's not that black people are too sensitive. If that's the case, if they're saying we're too sensitive about what Duplessis was saying, you know what I'm saying, in regards to me, Izzy, Kamaru, and Francis all having the same reaction to what he's saying, it's not that black people are too sensitive. It's just that clearly what he was saying was offensive. If everyone is getting offended, it's not that we're too sensitive. It's that clearly you offended people. People are offended by this shit. Like, I don't understand it, but that is what it is. Crackergate is what it is, and I would love to just see Izzy versus Duplessis, but I don't think Duplessis has a chance versus Whitaker. He has no chance versus Robert Whitaker. I feel like Robert Whitaker is better than him everywhere when it comes to mixed martial arts. Only thing Duplessis is better than Robert Whitaker at is saying overtly racist shit. Alright? This nigga was saying very overtly racist shit. Okay? That's why Izzy took offense. That's why I was like, hey, I don't know what these white niggas is talking about. Cameron Simon and Duplessis. They're both talking crazy right now. Crazy. I wanted both them white niggas to lose when I went and saw John Jones fight. They won. But I wanted both them white niggas to lose. BKFC happened last night. And what was about a round and a half of action in the main event, you had Mike Perry defeating Luke Rockhold. Alright? Rockhold quitting in the second round. Damn, I should have put the picture in here, but I forgot. I showed my wife the picture, and she was pretty grossed out. Of Luke Rockhold's tooth. He quit because in this fight, while he's in this fight that he signed up for, one of his teeth got pushed back. He pretty much got like knocked out. But it's like pushed back, pushed in far in his mouth. And he quit. He's done. He quit the fight that he was in because something happened in the fight. He got hit in the fight and something happened. But you signed up for that fight. And it's like not as bad. I instantly think of Devin Clark when like all his like bottom teeth, is like 4 teeth down there, 4 is like just maybe more, just caved in. And he wanted to quit, but his father was like, are you in a fight? Is it a fight or not? Like, are you in a fight? Then he's like, it's already happened. Then you can just go fight. And Devin Clark went on to win that fight. And just like Devin Clark's father asked Luke Rockhold, are you in a fight? Are you in a fight? Are you not a professional fighter? And it's like, dude, I don't know anything about it. I've never done it. I didn't sign up to bare knuckle box Mike Perry because I would do very poorly. All right, I would do very poorly. Luke Rockhold, former middleweight champion, he quit when he got hurt. When fight things happened in a fight. Something that we saw happen to Devin Clark. And he toughed it out and won that fight. Because, as his father said, like, are you in a fight? Like, his father was flabbergasted that he was even thinking about quitting because he got hurt in a fight. It's a fucking fight. That's what's gonna happen. You fight till you can't fight no more. It just makes me really rethink the way I view Luke Rockhold's performance against Paulo Costa. And when it happened in real time, I was like, okay, that was a pretty badass performance from Luke Rockhold. That's what I thought when it happened, even though, but now I'm thinking back and he's just hand on his knees, bent over, looking exhausted. Like, looked like he forgot all his skills. Like, he looked bad in there, and he was catching Paulo with some shit because he was just putting hand on his knees, exhausted, and then he just jump up with some shit and catch Paulo off guard. But he looked so lost in there. At the time, I thought it was an exciting fight. I thought he was putting on shenanigans, but when I see this fight here, it makes me look back on that fight like, whoa, did we just watch like a very diminished Luke Rockhold look really bad? And Jake Paul called it out, and I'm like, dude, fuck Jake Paul. You know what I'm saying? That was my reaction, fuck Jake Paul. But was he not spot on? He was like, yo, if I had a fight like that, you guys would call it the worst fight ever. And at the time, I was like, get the fuck out of here. That fight was exciting. But now, after this fight, I look back on him versus Paulo, and it's like, whoa, what actually happened in that fight? What actually happened in that fight? And it's, in hindsight, man, it looks really bad after this fight. It unfortunately looks really bad, but congratulations to Mike Perry, who defeats Luke Rockhold. And in the post-fight, he says, now this is pretty interesting. This fight took place in Denver, so you got Justin Gaethje in the audience, Kamaru Usman, Cowboy Cerrone. There's more fighters, and most noticeably, Conor McGregor is in the building, just drinking, just downing a bottle of Proper 12 the entire night. There's video of him just tilting that bottle back, just chugging. You know what I'm saying? All night. Just getting fucked up. And then Mike Perry wins, and he gets on the microphone, and he's like, hey, can I have like a face-off with Conor McGregor? Conor's faded. He gets in there. Conor's holding the bare knuckle belt. He has the bare knuckle belt on his shoulder, and he's facing off with Mike Perry. Mike Perry is like talking to him about possibly fighting. Conor's like, yeah, I'll never retire. For sure we're gonna fight. And Mike Perry's like, yeah, man, I love that. That inspired me all week. And then he's like, because you know, we're in Denver right now, and Cerrone took my arm in Denver, and he's like, and Conor's like, and what did I do to him? What did I do to him? Like, Conor's fucked up. Conor's drunk as shit. But he's ready to go. He's like, yeah, what did I do to him? What did I do to him? And Mike's like, well, you took him out. And this was the coolest fucking little interaction, little face-off between Mike Perry and Conor McGregor. And the whole time I'm like, Dana White is probably losing his fucking mind. Conor McGregor is holding the bare knuckle championship belt, and they interview this fucking wasted Conor, like, yeah, Conor, so what do you think about bare knuckle? And he's like, it's a great promotion. Well, you guys are doing a great thing. Conor gives a full promotion, unpaid, just on the spot. Drunk Conor gives a promo for Bare Knuckle FC. And I'm like sitting here like, dude, Dana White has to be losing his fucking mind. He has to be losing his mind. That was the fucking most insane moment, I would say, on Saturday. I saw it in the morning, to be honest. I had to work pretty early. But I saw that in this, like, first thing in the morning. I'm like, Conor, Mike Perry, what? It didn't make any sense in the headline. And as I'm watching, it's even wackier. It's even wackier. Because there's no way they're ever going to have a bare-knuckle fucking boxing match. That's not happening. Alright? It's never going to happen. But that was pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. And Saturday night, the fight that I did see, Yadong Vs Ricky Simon, and I was wrong. And I'm very happy that I was wrong, as I showed the video last week. Song was biting on the fucking feints of Corey. If Corey even looked like he was going to shoot, Song would practically fall to the ground for a sprawl. He was very reactive to any feint of a sprawl, and I thought Ricky was going to capitalize on that. And as they're walking to the ring, walking to the octagon, the commentators were talking about the fighter meetings. I fucking hate this, that they have these fighter meetings, because every time, alright, if I say like, well shit, he does real bad reactions to the wrestling, so like Ricky Simon should be able to capitalize on that, feint a shot and then capitalize with some strikes. I thought so. But as they're walking to the octagon, they're like, yeah, Song told us this week in the meeting that he worked that he's fully confident in his hands, all right, and his striking, and that he worked this entire camp on the grappling side of things. And I'm like, because that's the huge flaw here. Let's see if it really worked. And yeah, he wasn't biting on these feints. He was shutting Ricky Simon down. If Ricky Simon was able to take him down, he popped right up out of there. Like, and then with the hands and the stand-up, he was just too fast, too powerful, too skillful, too adaptive in there. He was just too much for Ricky Simon in there. So congrats to my boy. Nah, congrats to Song Yadong. He's not my boy. I was all about Ricky Simon last week, and I'm not gonna front. I thought Ricky Simon was gonna dominate this fight, but I was happy to see Song prove me wrong. Song has addressed holes that we saw in the Corey Sandhagen fight, and he looked pretty amazing. So can't wait to see his next fight. I think he was calling out Petr Yan, Chito Vera, or he was saying like he feels, or Marab. I think he called out Marab, but he was saying he feels like the UFC is gonna hide Sean O'Malley from him. I don't know if Sean wants to fight that dude. That dude's just so powerful. But Sean is super tall, has incredible kickboxing. It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see. I want to see O'Malley fight all these guys. I don't want to see O'Malley protected. If O'Malley is that, if he is him, then I'd like to see it proven. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to just, if Conor's him, as he did prove back in the day when he became the first champ, there's no way you could deny that he was him when he won both of those belts for the first time in history. At that moment, when he worked Eddie Alvarez over, dude, he was him, okay? So if O'Malley is him, I want to see him fight these guys. I want to see him prove that he is him at some point. But congrats to you guys. The night was pretty cool. It was like, let me just look at this card real quick. Look at that card. We had Caio Barallo submitting Michael Oleksiejczuk. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Oleksiejczuk, but Caio is just better than him. Oleksiejczuk was able to land the left hand, but yeah, as far as the grappling, it was just that they're saying like, yep, this is the flaw. Like once Michael gets to the ground, or Mikhail, he kind of just like accepts it, and you can't accept it against someone who's so skilled in his grappling as Barallo, and sure enough, he was submitted via rear naked choke. Yeah, this is an interesting card. This Fernando Padilla made his debut fighting out of Mexico. He finishes Julian Arosa in the very first round. It was a pretty interesting stoppage there. Check that out. Yeah, this wasn't, not a lot of big names, but these were some good fights. Newcomer Marcus McGee defeats Journey Newson, man. His striking was great. His defensive wrestling, he looked pretty phenomenal. This Marcus McGee guy, man. Made a great UFC debut on, I think, 3 days' notice. Stepped in ready to go and defeats Journey Newson. Just dominated him, to be honest. There's another fight here that I wanted to touch on. Josh Quinlan was defeated by Trey Waters, who I believe made his UFC debut last night. Yeah, so I didn't look into this guy, and I really wish I had. Because the second they were in the octagon together, and they're like, and the commentators like, Trey Waters is now the tallest active welterweight in the UFC. And I look up, and this nigga's 6'5", right? Bigger than John Jones. This nigga's 6'5", with a 77-inch reach. And he fights tall. There's a lot of fucking tall dudes that don't fight tall. He fights tall, and he keeps his hands down with his chin out forward, just to get you to come in and go for his chin. And Josh was doing it and getting fucking countered and just beat the fuck up by this guy. This guy beat Quinlan the fuck up. Quinlan was the heavy favorite. And Josh Waters came in and just beat that fucking ass. I really wish I had looked into it. Wish I had at least seen them face off. If I had seen those guys face off, I would have watched video. Oh yeah, dude, he's gigantic compared to this Quinlan guy. Compared to Josh Quinlan, dude. He was fucking gigantic. That was a very interesting fight. I'm interested to see if this Trey Waters guy, he's 28, I believe, 28 years old. I'm curious if he'll be able to make welterweight for long. Like 6'5", bro. 6'5" at welterweight. He doesn't look that big though, so it's interesting. He's not that big. But that was a pretty interesting fights on that card. You guys should definitely check it out. I'd see no reason why you shouldn't. And we have finally the return of Triple C. Aljamain Sterling defends his belt against the returning Henry Cejudo, who last defeated Dominic Cruz and then retired and has not fought in 3 years. Hasn't really been training from what you could see. He's gotten back in shape for this fight, but he's been posting videos and training with other fighters. He'd gained a lot of weight. He was clearly not training as hard as he was if he was preparing for a fight. So it begs, you have to ask the question, what Henry Cejudo are we getting back here? What Henry Cejudo are we getting back on Saturday? I'm not sure, but I know if we get a Henry that was here, if he looks like Henry of old and not the old Henry, then he's going to be pretty fucking fast. He's going to have that cool karate stance, and he's going to be in and out, pop, pop. And if we have that Henry, that super fast pop pop Henry, who's talking about he's predicting he's gonna finish Aljamain, pardon me. Went to shout out to Cops Frozen Custer out there in Glendale. You hooked your boy up. Anywho. Henry Cejudo, he is predicting that he will finish Aljamain Sterling with some dominant strikes, with his higher IQ, man. I don't know. I think if he is moving anywhere as fast as he was back then the stand-up will be a problem for Aljamain Sterling early on. But I believe Aljo will be able to work his wrestling. All right, I believe Aljo will be able to work his wrestling. I believe he will be able to take Henry Cejudo down and tire him out wrestle him. I believe he will ultimately defend his belt successfully and still Aljamain Sterling. I mean, there's as I was listening to who is it, Chiesa? He's talking about like, yo, there's a reason why Cejudo is training champions. You know what I'm saying? He's training like with training Zhang Wei Li, training John Jones, fucking Davison Figueiredo. There's a reason he's training champions, because he's got such a high fight IQ. So there's definitely a chance that we could see something amazing from Cejudo. But everything in me is sticking with the Jermaine right over there, Aljamain Sterling. That's who your boy is gonna stick with. And I would hate to be proven wrong, but it could definitely happen, because Cejudo, Olympic gold medalist, considered one of the best flyweights after beating Mighty Mouse, who's fighting this weekend as well, and what could be his retirement fight. So shout out to Mighty Mouse, shout out to Jillian DeCourcy, who's fighting on Wednesday for Invicta. Shout out to everybody. Yeah, so I'm sticking with Aljo here. I see no reason why I can't. I think the grappling, like, I know you guys are like, dude, he's an Olympic wrestler, but yeah, how many people really try to grapple that dude? How many people really try to out wrestle how to fucking take his back? You know what I'm saying? He has the wrestling. If anything, you want to try to keep it standing with him because he has the wrestling. You know what I'm saying? And I think Aljo is going to be successful. A lot of people compare what Aljo does to the Dagestani fighters. He says the Dagestani fighters were watching him warm up and like taking notes or some shit, like, holy fuck, like, yeah. Like, giving him compliments, like, this nigga's about that shit. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's going to be the difference. His grappling. Like, yes, Henry is an Olympian, but I think this MMA grappling from Aljamain Sterling will be the X factor here. And still, in the co-main event, Gilbert Burns versus Bilal Muhammad on short notice. I think 2 weeks notice these guys step in to fight to determine who will be the next one to fight Leon Edwards not Leon Edwards, to fight for the welterweight championship after Leon fights Colby. Which is weird to me. It doesn't really make any sense. But Gilbert was saying he was told that Leon is going to fight Colby next, and that the winner of this fight is going to fight whoever wins that fight. But when Colby wins that fight, how do you not justify giving Leon a rematch? That's where I'm at with this. That's why that doesn't really make any sense. It's not fair to Leon after he loses to Colby. It's not fair that you guys are just like not going to give him a rematch so that he can lose to Colby again. At least let this man get that opportunity. You know what I'm saying? To lose to Colby twice. But it is what it is. One of these guys can lose to Colby, and then he can beat Leon again in the rematch. It'd be nice rubies on Colby's championship belt. All right, nice rubies on Kobe's championship belt. And I would think this fight's interesting, all right? Pardon me for going on my Kobe rant there, but this fight's pretty interesting between Gilbert Burns, Belal Muhammad, man. I'm not sure if the short time. Gilbert Burns just fought Jorge Masvidal, and he dominated that boy. He just fought that boy like 2 weeks ago. And now he's in camp. Well, yeah, now he's back in camp. Short notice to fight Belal. Belal's on short notice to fight Gilbert Burns. It's just, I feel like if anything, Gilbert is more ready to go since he just got out of a fight camp. He just fought like a couple weeks ago. And now he's stepping back in immediately to fight a Belal who, like, I don't know, he's not really going to be able to game plan for Gilbert. I mean, he knows certain things that he likes to do, but are you going to be able to bring in guys that do what he does and be able to prepare enough, weight cut down to 170, and prepare for Gilbert? Like, I don't think they can possibly prepare for each other, really. Probably watch some video, go over, like, they like to do this. They have these tendencies, but on such short notice, they just got to go in there and fucking fight. That's why this fight's going to be crazy. 5 rounds. Man, dude, I don't know. I'm a big fan of both. I feel like if you're a hardcore MMA fan, then you love these guys. If you're casuals, you probably don't even know who the fuck they are. But for me, I love both of these guys. And I'd love to see Belal Muhammad get the fucking W here. My only issue is I don't know the preparation. I don't know where Belal was when it comes to where he was for this fight in preparation, because Gilbert is talking about how Belal was requesting that the fight be at 185. All right, he wanted the fight to be at 185, which tells me that he wasn't in fight shape. You know who was in fight shape? The guy who just got done fighting. The guy who just fought. Gilbert Burns. So I don't know, man. I'm real interested about the preparation that Belal can have going into here. Like, I know he's putting it all on the line so that maybe he can fight for the belt next, but shit, dude. Like, I want to pick Belal. I'd love to see Belal win, but like, the fact that he was asking for the 185 and that they just can't really prepare for each other, and Gilbert's probably clearly coming in better shape right now. It's like my gut is telling me Gilbert's gonna win, but I love both. I'm a big fan of both fighters. I would just like to see... I'd like to see Gilbert... No, I'd like to see Belal. I would like to see Belal take it. That's what I'm hoping happens. Alright, I'm going for Belal Muhammad in this fight. But this card has some interesting fights. You got the return of Jessica Andrade coming off her loss to Erin Blanchfield. She steps in to fight Yan Xiaonan. So that's an interesting fight also on the card. Bryce Mitchell returns after getting his ass beat from Ilia Topuria. Just fresh off of their Gravity Ain't Real documentary. And that's some real shit that I came across on Twitter. Bryce Mitchell, like, sitting out in the cold looking sweaty with a fucking hoodie on. And he's like, it ain't real, gravity ain't real. And I'm just like, man, y'all could have put this man in some nice clothes in a studio. He looks crazy, right? Like, I'm not even trying to shit on your stance of anything. It's just that y'all could have made this look a little better. Like, Ancient Aliens at least, like, makes up credentials for niggas. Oh, this nigga's a blah, blah, blah. You got a PhD in beating his meat over there. And you just see the PhD, like, doctor of blah, blah, blah. And it's, you don't even, you're like, oh, this nigga, he has his doctorate. Look into it. It's like, this nigga's a bodybuilder. This nigga with the weird hair is a fucking bodybuilder. Who's like a uncle of a nigga that I knew. That's just like a random ass story. Some nigga I used to know, that the nigga on Ancient Aliens with the big hair, he was always in all the episodes. He was like a bodybuilder, and like some nigga I knew back in the day that was like randomly his uncle. Random as fuck. It's just random as fuck. Anywho, Bryce could have did better. He could have did better against Ilia Topuria, and I feel like he could have done better in opponent. Instead of fighting Movsar Evelev, he was supposed to fight someone else. What fight was canceled? He was supposed to fight Jonathan Pierce, which I feel like was a much better fight for him. Pierce pulls out via injury. Man, we were supposed to have Oliveira versus Dariush on this card. You guys know I'm a fucking Oliveira stan. Would have loved to see that fight, but Bryce Mitchell loses out on his fight against Jonathan Pierce, and for whatever reason, he accepted a fight against the undefeated Movsar Evloev, and I believe Movsar will stay undefeated after that one. But, you know, hopefully Bryce does something. I know he doesn't fight in a real camp. I think he, like, just trains with some dudes in a fucking bar. I don't know what the fuck he does. Because after he was like, I know everybody's trying to say I need to train with a big gym, but I'm just going to do it my way. But I know but it's like, my nigga, what is your way? What is your way? You got pieced the fuck up by Ilia Topuria. Looked like you had no answers in there. Maybe you need to go to a big gym. I don't know what he's doing. Is he training with a bunch of random niggas in a fucking barn? What's happening, dude? Kron Gracie is back fighting Charles Jourdain. I thought Kron Gracie fucking retired, but he's back, and I believe he will get that ass beat by Charles Jourdain. In the prelim headliner, you have Drew Dober versus Matt the Steamroller Frivola. And I know that Drew Dober is the favorite, but Matt Frivola actually sometimes chats with niggas. Matt Frivola talks to niggas on Twitter and shit. I feel like Matt Frivola would do the podcast. You know what I'm saying? That's how cool Frivola is. So I'm gonna stick with Frivola because he follows me. He follows the podcast. Matt Frivola follows the podcast on Twitter. So we are rolling with Frivola for life. Over Drew Dober, you got Kennedy and Zechiku versus Devin Clark, who I mentioned had his teeth knocked back, and he toughed that fight out regardless. Much worse than what it looks like with Rockhold. And I've never been a fan of Devin Clark, even though his dad pumped him up to tough it out and go win that fight. I've never been a fan of Devin Clark. That moment really stuck with me. When he was trying to quit, like, yeah, I'm hurt. Maybe you think we should call it? His dad's like, nigga, are you in a fight? Nigga, are you in a fight? His dad was disgusted with that nigga, and I was disgusted at home. I'm going Kennedy and Zechiku to dominate this nigga. Kennedy looked great as of late. He was using his grappling, using his wrestling. He's gigantic. I'm going Kennedy and Zechiku. We got Chaos Williams back in here fighting some... Is he Canadian? Is he Canadian? No, he's from Peru. I was like, the flag looked kind of like a Canadian flag, but not really. Yeah, and Chaos is a lot of P's the favorite here. Heavy favorite. Minus 300, all right? They're claiming moderate. I think that's a heavy favorite here. In my opinion, we got Chaos Williams returning. It's real interesting where that guy went. Anywho, man, there's some good fights on this card. there is some good fights on this card. You guys should just watch it. Are these fucking... Yeah, I think they're putting two... This Claudio Ribeiro guy, is he a Contender Series guy? Yeah, they're putting two Contender Series guys against each other. It's Joseph Holmes versus Claudio Ribeiro. I don't know, I feel some type of way about most Contender Series guys, but I do like Sugar Sean O'Malley, and I'll just leave it at that. If you guys would like to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. You guys can email this podcast at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. You guys can hit that like button anywhere that you're listening to this podcast. I'd appreciate it so much. If you guys are on Twitch, go ahead and follow your boy at twitch.tv/Babylon5. We got Teesprings. If you guys want to cop some merch, head on over to teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. And lastly, don't just be my Neji, be my patrons. Head on over to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod and you can be my patron today. Thank you guys for being here another week, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys. Dude, I fucking, just to break character and just talk to you guys like a normal person here. There's no character I'm putting on. This is Jay every day, no compromise. But nigga, so this new job I'm at, right? So it's pretty cool. Pretty chill in my opinion, nigga. And yeah, it's honestly the easiest shit I've ever done. It's like, it's early as fuck in the morning at the ass crack of not dawn. It's the middle of the night that I get to work, and it's beautiful. I gotta work, it's the middle of the day. It's pretty stress-free for me so far, okay? And niggas is commenting like, yo, you the new hardest worker here. Because for me, nigga, I'd rather keep moving. I'm not the type of nigga that I just want to just... When niggas be just chilling, having conversations, it blows my mind. Anywhere that I've worked... There's always shit that can be done. I can't stand that phrase, if you can lean, you can clean. Can't stand that phrase, but like, there's some truth in that goddamn... There's some truth in that statement there, my nigga. If you can lean, you can clean. There's always something to be done. So like, niggas was saying like, oh, this is the new hardest worker. And when niggas say that, I take kind of shit like that with a grain of salt. Like, okay, niggas is like hating. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if they're not hating, they're low-key hating, like, oh, this nigga's trying to, like, look good. He's new here. And it's like, nah, I'm not really. It's just I'd rather fucking... If that shit still needs to be done, and I gotta be here for 2 more hours, then I'm gonna do it as quick as I can. And if that needs to be done, and I got an hour and a half, I'm gonna do it as quick as... You know what I'm saying? Like, because I'm here. Why the fuck would I just sit around? I'm here. It's pretty stress-free for me, but I just wanted to, like, fucking... The other day, fucking, like 2 days ago, niggas was having a work meeting. It's like, just, well, they do different jobs. These niggas don't do jobs for me. These niggas, I don't even want to say what they do. I'll tell y'all some other time. I'll tell y'all some other time, but, this fucking lady was going off to the supervisor, and I'm sitting there like, my jaw drops, nigga. What the fuck? Nigga, she's like, I can't pay my fucking rent this month, okay? I can't make my rent this month. Fuck you, Leon. Fuck you, Leon. I was like, I'm sitting there like, what the fuck? She just gonna cuss, and this ain't honestly the first time I've seen niggas get aggressive with management. Niggas be getting aggressive, and that's because we got a strong union. And that's legit the truth. It's because we got a strong ass union. These niggas be going the fuck off on management. And I'm just sitting back like, holy shit, nigga. I come from being in management. And niggas would never come at me like that. You would never come at me like that and still be working here. But these niggas be like, fuck you, right to your face. And then just go off. Start doing little menial fucking tasks that they were working on before the meeting started. I'm like, what the fuck is going on in here? But it's interesting because in orientation, the union guy, he's like, you just gotta have a tough skin. And he's like, and you don't need to hang out with your coworkers, okay? You don't need to be friends with your coworkers. And I'm like, yeah, that's 100% where I am. Like, I don't need to be friends with these people. I'm just trying to work and stay busy. And yeah, and I follow that. And even as I follow that, I still hear people still tell me little things like, oh, this nigga used to do that and blah, blah, blah. And then she was on that bullshit. I still hear this shit, the gossip and all that shit. But I don't know. I try to stay so busy. Like, I feel like niggas don't know really shit about me. Other than I be wearing Bucks shirts and shit. Cause it ain't, I just be wearing Bucks shirts to work. And it's not because like, and I be trying to tell niggas like, I haven't watched a Bucks game. Probably the last Bucks game was the end of this championship game. And I didn't watch that full game. I was checking the score and it was like, oh shit, they about to do it. Oh, they about to do it. And I turned it on. Other than that, nigga, I haven't really... I used to go to the games, as I said, and like I'm not a huge basketball watcher these days. But every time when I watch Giannis go, like, is this the failure? Eric, you're asking me this too. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I hear the passion in this nigga, I'm like, fuck, I need to watch more basketball. Why am I not watching more basketball? So, like, I feel like niggas at work don't know shit about me, and they just probably assume that I'm a huge Bucks fan because I'm rocking Bucks gear all the time. But because I don't watch games like that, those are the clothes that I'd like, that I don't mind getting messy or whatever if I'm at work doing shit. Or these are like workout clothes. Like, these are my throwaways. You know what I'm saying? Like, they probably think I'm a huge Bucks guy, but that's not the case. That's because I don't got time to be sitting here chatting with niggas. You know what I'm saying? And my life at this point is relatively stress-free. I'll be chilling. You know what I'm saying? I'll be chilling. I'm in a new space. But thank you guys for being here another week. I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves and each other. And I'll see you when I see you. I'll holla.
Yadong Babylon Kingdom. Team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling chant down Babylon Kingdom. Team make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon Kingdom. Team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling chant down Babylon Kingdom. Team make we chant